It is easy for skeptics, including me, to critique psychic performers. After over 5 years of analyzing many psychics and readings, in my opinion, I can find no evidence of a psychic communicating with the dead. Conversely, I have found many examples of precognitive dreams, or premonitions, coming true, which I document in my book, Paranormal 101, Fact vs. Fantasy. What follows are some examples. In the 1890s, Winston Churchill dreamt that in the future, there would be a tremendous invasion by an unknown means, and that he would oversee the defense of England, specifically London, and avert disaster. Mark Twain dreamt of the death of his brother, just days before his brother was killed in an accident. Elizabeth Edmondson's well-documented premonitions of the death of her son in a bunker in World War II. Claire Chappell's premonition that her father was in trouble and his yacht was sinking. Her frantic calls to her relatives on the night before her father mysteriously disappeared were produced in court. And from all of these, probably one of the strangest and well-documented premonitions of all. That of British Army Major Claude Wallace and the Battle of Jutland. From the 31st of May through to the 1st of June 1916, one of the largest naval engagements of World War I took place off Jutland. Among the thousands of sailors present was one British soldier sitting high in a battleship main top, taking notes. This soldier was Major Claude Wallace, who had made his way from the trenches of France, arriving just in time to sail with the fleet. After the war, Wallace wrote a book about his adventures, titled From Jungle to Jutland, which was published in 1924. In his book, he recounts how during World War I, while stationed on the Somme, he had nightly premonitions of a great naval engagement. He believed his presence to be essential at this great sea battle, which he was certain was about to occur. So convinced was Wallace that he spoke to his commanding officer and asked him to write to Admiral Jellicoe for permission to attend the fleet. Despite this being a strange request, his commanding officer, most likely thinking that Wallace could do with some leave, obtained the permission. But Wallace held off until his dreams intensified. It was only when he was certain that the naval battle was near did he seek permission to leave. While heading to the coast, at Wimereux, a small fishing village just north of Boulogne, Wallace ran into 3 colleagues. These were Brigadier General Brooker, Father Kelly, and Major A.S. Collard. The 4 men had lunched together, and Wallace told them about his premonition. In his book, Wallace provides letters from all 3 men as proof that his conversation about his premonition took place. On Tuesday the 30th of May, Wallace arrived at the now busy Scapa Flow, and was deposited onto the battleship HMS St. Vincent, where he met its commander, Captain Fisher. Fisher was surprised at Wallace's timing, as it was just before the fleet weighed anchor. Wallace eventually broached the subject of his dreams, to which Fisher laughed, and told him that, in his opinion, there would be no battle, although he wished there would be. Over the preceding months, Fisher had become quite used to putting to sea, and then returning a few days later, when nothing happened. This time things would be different. Once out at sea, on the 31st of May, the ship's company were gathered around a gun turret, where a large map of the North Sea had been painted on the side. Fisher told the crew of the fleet's proposed movement, and Wallace felt the hair on the back of his neck stand on end. The scene was straight from his premonition. Later in the afternoon, a message was received that 2 British battle cruisers were in contact with the enemy. This had happened in previous sorties and nothing had come of it, so Fisher teased Wallace, telling him his premonition was not looking all that accurate. Wallace responded that this initial report showed that his premonition was about to come true. Just before sailing into battle, Fisher suggested that Wallace head down below decks. Wallace asked to be allowed to watch from the maintop instead. Because Wallace was a veteran from the trenches of France, Fisher thought it might be good for Wallace to provide a calming influence among his non-battle-tested sailors and allowed him to do so. As a result, Wallace, the only soldier present, watched most of the Battle of Jutland from the maintop of HMS St. Vincent. From his great observation post, Wallace kept track of all the visible ships' movements and noted down the main events. After the battle, because he had been the only observer in the fleet, Wallace was asked to brief Admiral Jellicoe on what he had seen of the battle. When Wallace stopped over in London, on his way back to France, Wallace's report was the first detailed information that London had received. Wallace was ordered to stay longer so that he could brief the First Lord of the Admiralty, Lord Balfour. Wallace then returned to France and is known to have given lectures on the Battle of Jutland. Not only is Wallace listed as being part of St. Vincent's crew during the battle, he is also the only British soldier who qualified for the appropriate decorations given for St. Vincent's action during the Battle of Jutland. It can be easy for skeptics to critique psychics, but it is rare for them to talk about precognitive dreams. Maybe this is because sometimes dreams do come true.